Two Corollas today. One's a little more special than the other. All right, so here in NorCal, we have two Corollas that we are absolutely proud of. And I think I speak for us all to say that these two guys, we are really proud for these two guys to represent us. And one of those guys is Mr. Durk Edwards. All right, so I have a little bit of history with this car, and I've known Durk, not forever, but quite a while now. So, so the story goes, I think, man. So the story goes, I want to say like 5 years ago, I rebuilt the T50 for this. More accurately, I was building T50s while I was still working out of my home garage, and that's kind of how I made my name. And so one thing I would do would be to do core exchanges so that your car wouldn't have to be down for so long. And what does that mean? So I would build up a core at home, and then we could swap out with your transmission that needed a rebuild, so core exchange. And so Mr. Durk Edwards was one of my customers. So, you know, again, just about 5 years ago, this car was towed to my home garage to have one of my built transmissions put in it. Beautiful car with a ton of history. I don't have any first pictures. I don't have any pictures from that first visit in my garage just because this car was so intimidating, and you know, Durk's history with this car and both his racing history and, you know, just the person and the personality that he is. I was way too starstruck's probably not the word for it, but way too intimidated, starstruck, whatever, to even take any pictures. So yeah, why don't we take a walk around, jog my memory a little bit. This car has changed a little bit since last time. It used to have like a really archaic electromotive system. I think this is running on Mega Squirt now. I'm not sure what these coil packs are, but coil unplugged now. And again, it's got this cool injection system. I have no idea what injection system this is either. Yeah, Durk normally runs a filter. When he dropped this car off, he was like, oh man, I left the filter at home. Let's see, looks like 132. It's this cool catch can system. So this is actually a big port head on a small port bottom end. I'm not 100% sure the specifics on this build, but I can tell you Durk is this like old school USDM style where, you know, big port head, no 20 valve, no beams, none of that. This is his style. This is the way to go. Yeah, still running power steering. Again, kind of like Josh's Beams car, like a very simple but like very effective setup. Or I should say no fancy frills here. Yeah, I almost forgot to mention, there's a few reasons why the car and the owner are so special to me, or why it means so much to me that this car is here now. Again, this is one of my good friends and customers who followed the journey with me from starting the Autohaus in my home garage to now, you know, all of this legit facility, right? And again, like, so grateful for Durk Edwards to, you know, continue with me on this journey. I mean, such a privilege. I tell the guys in the building, like, if I could be half the man that Durk Edwards is, then my life would be complete. Another reason working on this car again is so important for me. I mean, looking back when I was working in my home garage, I think this was the second or third car that got trailered to my house. And I think at that point I was like, it gave me a lot more confidence. I was like, people are trailing their car to my home garage. I must be doing something right, or I must be on the right path. So, all right, so I really hope Durk can come and tell his own story. Like, it's your story, you should be the one to tell it, right? So, but I'll do my best. So let's take a look inside first. This was actually far more street car the last time I had this car. There was no none of this switch panel, none of this. I think it still had like the OEM stuff in here. This is cool. I think this is the navigator's light. So we're gonna have to rewind a little bit, but at one point this was a full-blown rally car, and I think when Durk brought this to the US, they actually detuned this thing for the street. So like all the navigator's equipment got taken out of this car. But yeah, this car's got so much history. Again, I'm really hoping Durk can make the time and tell his own story with this car. Yeah, I gotta have that old school horn button. So yeah, we'll get to see more underneath, but OEM Zenki rear bumper, I'm pretty sure Durk just went to the dealership and bought that. Same thing, genuine TRD N2 kit. Durk told me that he went to the dealership, opened up the paper TRD catalog and was just like, okay, I'd like to buy this. So yeah, genuine TRD kit. There's a beautiful TRD stamp under here, and when we lift up the car, I'll show you guys what it looks like. All right, so yeah, again, I know I'm gonna butcher this story, but I think this was the Ex-GAB demo car, so GAB Racing, which is actually, when we went to SEMA a couple years back, we found out GAB is some like private owner, I think in Indonesia, bought out GAB, so it's no longer the same GAB. But Ex-GAB demo car or rally car, and so I think this is a very early 85, and it came from Japan back to the US. Durk got this somehow. To give you guys a little history, Durk's a real ex-rally driver, and you know, no longer in competition, but I mean, he's out here still doing it. And yeah, there's a couple hints under the car that now that I'm able to get a better look, it definitely looks like it's either an early Japanese build or like a really early car. So yeah, enough of me talking, let's lift this thing up and we'll take a look. So yeah, again, the car's changed a little bit. Actually, a lot of bit since the last time I've seen it. Annex Club Spec Pro. There's supposed to be helper springs. There's a little bit of a question for the guy who installed it, why the helper springs got taken out. But pretty sure this is the legit Jubi-Ride drop bracket. Oh yeah, man, I wonder if this came with the car back in '85. But yeah, you can see there's some like rally stuff on here. These look like they got welded on. There might have been like a protective shield for the diff when this car was, you know, in this car's past life. Same thing, it's been a long time, but I vaguely remember there being like guards against these four-links. I don't remember the traction brackets last time I worked on this car. But again, like another rally piece on here. One of the things that's really telling, if you guys haven't already noticed, if this is an early or a Japanese car, is where's the undercoat? Yeah, where's the undercoat, right? So, I mean, either the undercoat got stripped off for being a rally car, or, you know, like regular Japanese stadium market cars, there's no undercoat. And then the undercoat that's on it is like not that thick, not like that thick stuff that's on US cars. I mean, we'll go take a look at my car right now and I'll show you the difference, right? So check this out, and then, yeah, actually that was a bad example, but you guys can see on the front side, this undercoat. Yeah, the undercoat's like far thicker in my car, being a US car. See how this stuff's like layered on. Yeah, you can tell this is one of my early T50 builds because of this, I know this is Subaru 3-bond, so I must have just got out of the dealership. Yeah, again, very simple, but I mean very effective build. Still power steering rack. Yeah, Zenki rack, because you can tell because the Koki racks are actually thinner. I mean, no frills with the tie rods, inner or outer. Again, got the Annex Club Spec Pro, got the helper springs on the fronts. Oil filters relocated up in this corner. Pretty cool fan shroud. This thing's got an AccuSump, and then it's gonna be hard to tell, but there's a Setrab oil cooler up there. And then check it out, probably my favorite part of the car. Look how good of condition those guys are in. I absolutely cannot believe it. Yeah, another trick piece. Durk said that this front splitter was handmade for him to fit this N2 front lip. Yeah, I just noticed something interesting. The back of this brake bracket, it's got this thing welded on. I imagine that's for these brake ducts to cool the rotors back there, but you know, only Durk would know for sure. If you guys are wondering how come two mufflers with a dump, just like for me, Laguna Seca is Durk Edwards' home track. So yeah, if you guys don't know, sound booth is on that side. So that means this guy dumps out. And you know, being the man Durk is, he said he'll run a straight pipe right off of this thing to really uncork the exhaust, but of course not at Laguna. I know this has got a fuel cell in the trunk. I'm gonna respect Durk and not completely, you know, go through the car. But yeah, looks like this was cut out, and then there should be a fuel cell in there. All right, so obviously the car's here for work, right? He didn't drop this thing off to me to just film it. So what are we doing to this car? Yeah, I'll post some pictures. This engine got a refresh, but you can kind of tell the guy who refreshed this or rebuilt it isn't that familiar with Ford AGs, because there was some weird stuff. Like I'll show a picture. This was all sealed up with like some really gross orange silicone. This is the OEM oil filter return, and this thing got like a banjo, a hose, and then a bolt in it. And if you guys don't know, if you need to block this off, all you do is just put a regular drain plug and drain plug washer, and 10 times cleaner. You can see some of that old orange residues there, but we took the pan off, windage tray, oil pickup, new oil pickup gasket, cleaned all that nastiness up, and gave the pan and windage tray a thorough clean and resealed this guy with the proper black RTV. Yeah, just helping Durk do a once over on this car. I know it's gonna be tough to see again, but that cap right there we had to add for the oil return, because again, this is a big port head, small port block. So, it sucks. I'll link a picture. You can actually modify a big port head to accept an oil drain. So it's like, small port oil drain on the back of the head would go right there and dump into here. And whoever built this engine put this like convoluted long piece of hose with a thing stuck in it, when all you needed, it's a 3/4 coolant cap in the hose clamp. And yeah, that's just to block off the oil return for a small port block if you're running a big port head. Yeah, we can check out that individual throttle body setup from under the car. Yeah, you guys probably already noticed axles are out. We made a comment in the shop, Durk's a real race car driver because he's running the newest stuff, right? No nonsense made in the 80s. It's 2020, get rid of your 90s stuff. So yeah, these should be Zenki axles for this Zenki car. So Durk's TRD LSD, he said it was completely worn out. It was time for a new one. So we're going to reuse his old 455 OEM Toyota ring and pinion. I got new ring gear bolts in here. You can see the paint check marks that I always put. All new bearings. There's weird solid spacer in this guy. This guy originally had a crust spacer in it. And then Tomei T-Trax 1.5 way. Same diff that I run in that car. Thank you to Battle Garage RS, got these guys in stock. Of course, new pinion seal. We got this fresh blasted and painted. Same thing, got this guy, the pinion flange painted. I'll always polish up the sealing surface. And yeah, if you want to check out the diff, absolutely spotless on the inside. Oh yeah, and you can see I did some minor deburr work. Get the casting flash off of there before I put this guy together. So yeah, should put this together by next week. Same thing, another thing you do, the inside of this should be absolutely spotless, just like this. You can see we took both of these baffles out, ran them through the parts washer, and then did a deep clean on the inside of this axle housing. If your axle housing is not this clean, you need to go slap the shit out of the guy who put together your rear diff, because all this sludge and all that garbage is just gonna get into your LSD and rear diff and just ruin it all over again. This car has so much rich history that I'm actually blanking on what else to talk about, so stay tuned. I'm gonna do an IG live right after this, and hopefully some viewer questions and comments will jog my memory about this car, because absolutely beautiful car, a long rich history since 1984. So I am absolutely not going to do this car justice just with this one video. So yeah, thank you so much to Mr. Durk Edwards, first and foremost, for like all the support over the years, for entrusting me once again to work on your car, which is you've told me pretty much a part of your family at this point. Thanks to you guys watching for all the support. If you want to see me film more cool cars like this, we got a Patreon and a merch store in the description below. 100% of those proceeds are going to go right back into media. I mean, all the videos, maybe I'll be able to get the podcast going again. But yeah, I can't step up the media work or get a greater volume of media work without the support from you guys. And special thanks to my existing Patreon supporters, which I always shout you guys out in the end in the credits. So yeah, thanks again, you guys. Catch you next time.